Welcome to Jerry's Corona Contemplations, everybody. Happy Wednesday. I'm uploading Mishpatim a bit late. Didn't get it done by last Shabbat. I apologize. It was just a lot going on. But we can't very well skip over Parshat Mishpatim, so let's have at it. To review, we just experienced the Aseret HaDibrot, the full sound and light show of the Revelation at Sinai, and the next parsha starts V'yela HaMishpatim Asher Tasim Lifneim. These are the statutes you should put before them. Ki tekne eved ivri, sheishanim yavod. It goes through owning a Hebrew servant. It goes through if you see your friend's animal falling under its load, you should go and help him, which means in the modern day parlance, if you're driving down the street and you see your buddy has got a flat tire, you pull over and help him. It goes through honest weights and measures, and it goes through if your ox gores Yenim or Yenim's ox, you have to pay depending on if you're watching someone's ox and it gets out, you have to pay. What does all this mean? Well, it means if you're driving down the street and you're a little too much to the right and you nick the other guy's car, you leave a note saying, excuse me, it was an accident, but I want to make restitution. If someone says, do me a favor and watch this for me, and it goes lost under your tutelage, guess what? You, depending on whether you were a paid watchman or an unpaid watchman, what's going on here? Like, what is this? Ma'inyan Mishpatim Eitzel Har Sinai. And it goes back to something I learned as a young lad in Yeshiva Tiferet Moshe in Queens. We started learning Gemara in fourth grade. My Anikel in Brooklyn also, fourth grade. And he's learning the same thing I learned. Well, he's not in fourth grade anymore, but when he was learning the same thing I did, which was Elu Mitzio Shalom, Elu Chayev Lahachriz, Elu Mitzio Shalom, Matzah Peres, Mefuzar Amos, Mefuzar Krichos, Brishos Arab. Right? The first thing we learn in Gemara is actually a Mishnah, and it teaches us that if you find something in the street, whether it's money or whether it's fruit or whether it's coins or whatever it is, you have to announce it. I found something. Would you like, if someone lost something, please come and tell me, describe it, and I'll give it back to you. How about brachos? How about Shabbos? There's all these, lots of interesting things. The Yom Tovim. No. Why? Because, as Chazal teach us, first you have to be a Mentch. You have to be a Mentch. So, if you find something that's not yours, you return it. If you damage something that belongs to somebody else, you make restitution. That is what we call Menschlichkeit 101. You can't cheat in business. You can't do it. You can't take money that doesn't belong to you to support whatever holy in your own mind works you're in the midst of if it doesn't belong to you. This is what the Torah is telling us, that yes, very good. You have to, learn the Torah and understand it. We're going to get to that in a second. But first, you have to be a Mentch. At my bubby, my grandmother, Zechreina Levracha, it was just her yahrzeit not too long ago. She always told us, be a Mentch, not a bench, right? You have to be a Mentch. Basic Menschlichkeit before you could be a Kli Machzik Bracha, before you could be a Talmid Chacham. In order to be a Talmid Chacham, the prerequisite is Menschlichkeit. And now, at the end of the Parsha, one of the most esoteric episodes, we accepted the Torah, carbon was brought, Moshe sprinkled the blood, right? The whole thing. And then the Torah says something very strange in my eyes. It says, Moshe, Aaron, Nadav, Avihu, and the Shivim, Miziknei Yisrael, they Vayiru es Elohei Yisrael, they saw God. What do you mean they saw God? You can't see God. It says, Lo Yerani Ha'adam V'chai. And Taka, Nadav, and Avihu, we know they died young. Moshe and Aaron, eventually, everyone dies eventually. Moshe was 120 years old. I mean, but Moshe was able to see Hashem, Panim El Panim, right? But what does it mean they saw God? And then it says, V'tachat raglov, and underneath his feet, Kemase livnat hasapir, like a sapphire brick. Uche'etzem hashemayim latohar, and it was clear like the sky. What's going on? I mean, let me just say that I don't know. And I'm just going to give what I was like really meditating on this pasuk, and I have a thought. It's my own thought. Well, Rashi first of all says that the livnat hasapir, the brick that was at God's footstool, as it were, was a reminder of the Shibud in Mitzrayim when the Jews were forced to make bricks. Okay, but what's the rest of the whole thing? Well, last week we spoke about creation yesh me'ayin. We were talking about the whole creation of the world, right? The Big Bang, if you will. God said it and bang, it happened, right? What is it exactly? What is it exactly that Nadav and Avihu and Moshe and Aaron and the Shivim Zakanim, what did they experience? Well, we said that God is the force with the capital F, the source of all energy. I want to say that they experienced the ultimate truth, clarity. They had clarity. Ka'etzem hashamayim latohar. They understood what all of us want to understand. What we're doing here, and why, when things don't always look the way we'd like them to, that God is ultimately in control. Now, the livnat hasapir, the sapphire brick, God is saying, I am with you in your suffering. I know that you went through a terrible period. Now, you want to say it was 400 years, 430 years, 210 years, 83 years, depending on when the Shibud started. Are we counting from the birth of Yitzchak? Are we counting from the birth of Absar? None of that really matters. What matters, it matters, but not in this context. What matters is that Hashem is saying, yeah, I did that. There's a reason. You didn't understand it at the time, but now you can experience it. Now you have clarity. You understand the force with the capital F. So it took the Shibud Mitzrayim, the years of slavery, suffering, death, and persecution, for the Jews to get to the point where they were a nation united. And they went from that in 49 days, they went from the lowest level to the highest level. It's always darkest before dawn. We went through the worst period in modern Jewish history, the Holocaust. And after that, through the ashes of the Holocaust, was birthed the modern state of Israel. How many times do we say, oh, if only someone in Auschwitz could have seen that Israel has one of the most powerful armies in the world, that they are the leaders in vaccinations and corona. Look, a modern day, they have a cure. They have a cure that's 100% effective that they're going to be distributing to the world. That we took drip irrigation and made a garden out of a desert. We always say, oh, if they only could have seen that. They do see it. They see it from where they are. And they now understand what Moshe, Aaron, Nadav, and Avihu understood on that day. The force. That even at the darkest time, Hashem is with us, and there will be a reblooming. There will be a there will be what's the word I'm looking for? There'll be a renaissance. There'll be a rebirthing. It will come. And this is the whole idea of Nasa v'Nishma. Almost 2 million, about 2 million people, between the men, the women, the children, right? We stood at Har Sinai. They said Nasa v'Nishma. That doesn't mean we park our brain at the door. Nasa v'Nishma means we get it, because we know that God is the force. So anything he says, we know is for the best. We're going to do it. But Nishma, we're also going to learn. We're going to do our best at our time on this earth to try to understand and to reach that level that Moshe, Aaron, Nadav, and Avihu, and the Shivim Zakenim were able to fully accept, appreciate, and understand the importance of the force. And we should get there. We have work to do, but we'll get there. Shabbos Makar HaBracha. We have an important Shabbos coming up, Parsha Zachar. It's going to be the next video in this series. Check it out. I'll be doing it shortly. And everybody have an absolutely wonderful Shabbos Zachar coming up. And next week we'll be experiencing our Purim, as much as it may be curtailed this year because of Corona. But please God, now that we have a vaccine and we have therapeutics and cures coming out, this will be the last time, hopefully in all of our lifetimes, that we have to deal with this. So everyone have a great rest of the week. Make it a great rest of the day, and Shabbat Shalom.